Hello everyone, I'm Frank and welcome to Learn How to Sudoku, where we take a very easy variant Sudoku puzzle and we break it down in detail so that you can learn how to Sudoku. Today's very easy puzzle is called Swing Shift by Katie Splendor, and here are the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply, which means fill the entire grid with the digits 1 through 9 such that there are no repeats in any row, column, or designated 9-cell region, which in this case is a box because it's normal Sudoku. We also have global modularity, where every 2 by 2 box of cells must contain at least one digit from each of the following sets: 147, 258, and 369. And if you have a number keypad, it's basically the left column is one set, 1, 4, and 7. The center column is a set, 2, 5, 8, and the right column is a set, which is 3, 6, 9. So that is for any 2 by 2 box of cells in this puzzle. Has to have one digit from each of the modulo sets, right? Because if you have 147 and you divide by 3, that's essentially a remainder of 1. So it's 1 modulo 3. 258 divided by 3 is 2 modulo 3, and 369 divided by 3 is 0 modulo 3. So that's why it's called modularity, right? Because it's modulo lines. But it's global modularity. So every 2 by 2 box must have at least one of each of those sets. We also have entropy, where any set of 3 consecutive digits on a peach entropy line must have a low digit, which is 1, 2, or 3, a middle digit, which is 4, 5, and 6, and a high digit, which is 7, 8, or 9. So you could divide the number keypad in rows that way too. And that's how you could figure out entropy, which you have a low digit, a middle digit, and a high digit. So every 3 cells along an entropic line, must contain one of each of the sets of low digit, middle digits, and high digit. And that's how entropic lines work. We also have XV sums, where digits separated by a V sum to 5, and digits separated by an X sum to 10. There is no negative constraint, so that means we just have information here. So for example, if this were a 3, this would have to be a 2 to add up to 5. If that were 2, then here, that would force this to be 8 to add up to 10. And those are the XV rules. And then finally, we have ratio Kropke dots, or black Kropke dots, where digits separated by a black Kropke dot have a value ratio of 2 to 1, and there is no negative constraint, so that means we're just given positive information here. So for example, if this were a 2, this would have to be a 1 or a 4 to maintain the 1 to 2 ratio between them. And those are all the rules. If you like to play along, there's going to be a link in the description. And now I'm going to get started. Let's learn how to Sudoku. So the one that comes to my mind immediately where I want to start is this V. It limits things quite a bit that this has to be V. And if you look at it, every 3 set, if you have anything that's alternating between any line that must contain one of each set of 3 sets on anytime you have that's not a good explanation. For the entropic line, any 3 set of consecutive digits must contain one each of a low digit, a middle digit, and a high digit. Since that's the case, we know these 3 cells must be the separate sets. So let's designate them as, I don't know, orange, yellow, and pink. Well, the thing is, these 3 are obviously different sets, right? because of the definition of the entropic lines. What about these 3 digits? We have already a pink, one from the pink set, one from the yellow set. We're missing one from the orange set, so this must be orange. So every 3 cells along an entropic line, and this also works with modular lines, but we don't have that right now, and we don't have that in this puzzle. But anytime you have any 3 consecutive cells in a line must be one each of a set. That means that every third cell away must be the same set, right? So these two are different sets than this. So this one must be the same set as this because these will be different sets, right? This must be the same set as that because, again, you have different sets here. So this must be yellow. This has to be pink. We have, again, this is orange because it's 2 away from the orange, or it's a 3rd digit away from the orange. This must be yellow again, right? So we have orange, pink, yellow, orange, pink, orange, yellow, pink, orange, yellow, pink, orange, yellow, pink. So it must continue along that line for the whole line. So orange, yellow. So these are all orange. Orange, 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 orange. These are all yellow. So we have yellow, yellow, and yellow. Interesting. And these are all pink. Right, because it's every 3rd cell on the line is the same set as the one that's 3 away from it, right? So interestingly enough, these 2 digits must add up to 5, and they're the same entropy. That means they're either both low, they're both middle, or they're both high. Well, both middles minimum is 4 and 5, which adds up to 9. Both highs is 7 and 8, which adds up to 15. And so therefore these must all be lows. So the yellows are essentially the lows, and it has to specifically be a 2-3 pair. So this is 2 and 3 adding up to 5, which forces this to be a 1 because that's the only low remaining. The 2 and 3 must add up with 7 or 8 to add up to 10. So the pinks are all highs. So these are all highs, and the oranges are all medium. So this is low, and it must add up with a high digit to add up to 10. So because it's 1, 2, 3 with 7, 8, 9. We cannot have another low digit here. So the low cannot be here. Therefore, this is either all medium or all high. I think this is actually a very similar thing, right? So we'll make this pink, yellow, orange. Again, so every 3rd digit is the same set. So these are pink. So pink, pink, pink. This is pink, 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 2, 3, pink, pink. This is yellow. This is yellow, 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 yellow. And these must be orange then. So this yellow cannot be blue because we have 3 blues already there. Cannot be high because we have a high here, and this would be then 4 highs in a row, which is not allowed. So the yellows must be middle. So these are all middle. That forces this to be all highs here. Well, the only middle that's in a 1 to 2 ratio with a high is 4 and 8. Right? 5 doubled is 10, so that's not a high digit. It's not even a digit. And 6 doubled is 12. Or if you have double of 6, that's 6 and 3, and that's not a high digit. So this has to be 4 and 8 here, which means this can't be 8, this can't be 2 to add up to 10. Orange cannot be the same as high, because if orange were high, you'd have 4 highs in row 3, and that's not allowed. So orange has to be low because it can't be the middle anymore. Therefore, pinks must be high. Um, and then we have also global modularity, so we need to keep track of that. Okay. These two digits add up to 10, and they're both middle digits, so it's 4 and 6. This can't be 4 because of the 4 in the column, so this is 6, this is 4. This is in a 1 to 2 ratio, and it's a high digit, so this is 8. This is 7 or 9 here. 8 cannot be here, so 8 has to be one of these two digits and must be one of these two digits. This also must be a 4 because that's the only digit remaining. These are all highs. These are all highs. And the only high digit that's in a 1 to 2 ratio with anything is 8. So this is 8. This then must be 4 and is a middle digit. Therefore, 4 must be one of these two digits here. 8 is one of these. 6 cannot be here, so this is 5, which makes this a 6. That makes this a 5, which makes that a 6, and therefore that's a 5. 4 and 8 are already part. Okay. So this is 5. 8 is one of these cells here. So if this is 8, that would mean modularity wise by the 2 by 2 area, we have 2 that are 2 modulo 3. This is 1 modulo 3. So we need a 3 modulo 3 here, and it must be low. So then that would be 3 if this was 8. If this is 8, this is, both of these are again 2 modulo 3. This is 0 modulo 3, so we need a 1 modulo 3 here. Did I say 3 modulo 3? Apologies. This is 0 modulo 3 if this is 1 modulo 3 and these are 2 modulo 3. So this is 1 or 3 specifically here. We don't know which ones these are. So if this is 8, these two are 2 modulo 3. This is 1 modulo 3. This must be 0 modulo 3. This is 0 modulo 3, and this is 0 modulo 3. So this would have to be 1 modulo 3. So this would be 7 if that's the case. If this is 8, these two are 2 modulo 3. 6 is 0 modulo 3, so 1 has to be 1 modulo 3. So you have two 1 modulo 3s. This must be then 0 modulo 3 here. So that's 9 here. So this is 7 or 9. This can't be 8 because of one of these two is an 8 here. So this must be 7. It forces this to be 3 to add up to 10, which makes this 2. This becomes a 1-3 pair here. This is 1 or 2. This is 2 or 3 here. This 7 eliminates 7 here, so this is 9. That forces this to be 8. This is 7 or 9 here. We know one of these digits is a 2. Okay, so... But that doesn't really tell us much. Okay. Anyways. This is 9. This is 7 or 9 here. This is 7 or 9 here. This is 1 or 2. This is 2 or 3. Okay. In this 2 by 2 area, one of these is a 2. But that doesn't really tell us very much. We've got all these constraints done. All of these constraints are done. Okay, let's look at this. Unfortunately, okay, never mind. Let's look at this. The 1 and 7 are 1 modulo 3. The 3 is 0 modulo 3. So that means we have to have a 2 modulo 3 remaining in the 2 by 2 square. So this must be a 5 because it's middle. So this is 5. What about this? This is 4 or 6, so that's fine. This is 4 or 6 here. This is 8 or 9, this is 8 or 9. This is 8 or 9. This is 8 or 9, so this must be 7 here, which makes this not 7. This is 9, which makes this 8. This is therefore 7. This has to be not 7, so this is 9. This is 7. This can't be 9 because of the 9 in the column, so this is 8. This is 9. Again, 8 and 5 are 2 modulo 3. This is 1 modulo 3. We need a 0 modulo 3 here, so this is 3. Both 6 and 9 are 0 modulo 3. This is 2 modulo 3. We need a 1 modulo 3, so this is 1. This is therefore 2. 6 and 0 are 0 modulo 3. We need a 1 modulo 3, so this is 1. 4 and 7 are 1 modulo 3. This is 0 modulo 3. We need a 2 modulo 3. This is 2. Therefore, this is 3. This is 1 then. This is 3. And this is 2. That's 3 in the corner. We celebrate because I don't know why we celebrate. Anyways, this has to be 7 or 9 here. Of the highs, these cannot be 7, 8 here. So this must be 8 here, which makes this 7 or 9. Okay. This is 8 and this is 8. So they're both 2 modulo 3. This is 1 modulo 3. So we need a 0 modulo 3 in that 2 by 2 area. This can't be 3 or 9. Therefore, the only 0 modulo 3 left is 6. So this is 6. This is also a medium, which leaves these as lows. Because we have 3 mediums now in row 4. So this is a 1, 2 pair. This is a 4, 5 pair. This must be 6 then, because that's the only digit remaining in that box. 6 eliminates 6 here, so this is 4. This is 6. That makes this a 5. This 5 here eliminates 5 here, so this is 4. This is 5. That leaves this as 6, and this as 4. Okay. This is 1 modulo 3, 2 modulo 3, 0 modulo 3. 1 modulo 1 modulo 0. So we need a 2 modulo 3. So this is 8. This is 9. 8 and 9 cannot both be here. So this is 7, which makes this 8. This 7 eliminates 7 here. It can't be 8. This is 9. This is 7. 4 and 7 are both 1 modulo 3. 8 is 2 modulo 3, and we need 0 modulo 3. So this is 3, this is 1, this is 2, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. 1 and 9 add up to 10. So this is 9, this is 7, this is 9, this is 7, which makes that 9 and 7 there. Okay, and now we just fill everything in using the global modularity. This says 1, 2, and 3 modulo 3. Sorry, 1, 2, and 0 modulo 3. This is also 1, 2, 0 modulo 3. 1, 2, 0 modulo 3. 1, 2, 0 modulo 3. We have 2, 3, 4 remaining here. In row 1, in row 3, we have 1, 5, 6 remaining. In row 6, we have 3, 4, 5 remaining. In row 7, we have what? 1, 3, 5 remaining. And in row 9, we have what? 2 and 6 remaining. Okay. 4 obviously can't be here. 4 can't be here. This 6 eliminates 6 here. So this is 2, which makes this 6. 6 can't be either of these, so this must be a 6 here. This is medium. This is low. We have a medium here. This cannot be 2. Both of these are 0 modulo 3. This is 2 modulo 3. Therefore, this must be 1 modulo 3, so it's a 4. Which means this can't be 4. This is medium. This is a middle digit. These are low digits. 4 cannot be here. Whereas the 4 in row 6, it must be here. So this is 4 and a middle digit. But we don't care actually about the middle digits. So let's start coloring everything by modularity. We're going to use green, orange, and yellow. So all the 1s, 4s, and 7s are green. Actually, maybe we just make it red, yellow, and blue. All the 1s, 4s, and 7s are red because they're 1 modulo. And I like using the same columns for them. 2, 5, and 8s are all yellows. And 3, 6, and 9s are all blues. Okay. This allows us to easily see what we're missing. So far, okay, these two are the same, so we're missing a red. So this is red, which makes this 1. That makes this 5, which is yellow. This 1 eliminates 1 here. We have 2 yellows here, we're missing blue. So this is blue, which makes this 3. That makes this 5, which is a yellow, so these can't be 5 here. This can't be 3, this is 5 and a yellow. These have all 3. This has all 3. All 3 here. This has 2 blues, so we're missing a red here. So this must be 1, which makes this 2. That makes this 3 and 2. So this is yellow. This is yellow. This has to be blue. This is red, and this must be blue. So that makes this 3 and this a 1. That's how you solve it. Pretty cool, actually. Pretty nice use of the entropic lines to essentially be the break-in point with the X's and V's and the black Kropke dots. And then the global modularity allowed us to fill out the rest of this puzzle, which was nice. Pretty cool. I'm usually not a fan of the global rule sets, but I like the way that it was used here because it's used to essentially differentiate things, where that versus actually trying to solve things in depth. Because you can get some hairy logic involved with global modularity or global entropy. Where things have to where every 2x2 box, every 2x2 cells, box of cells has to have one of every of a set of 3. Sorry, I'm not making much sense, but basically I like this way of using global modularity to essentially differentiate things. Instead of actually using that as the crux of the solution of having to try to solve the puzzle. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Learn How to Sudoku, and I'll see you next time on Frank Puzzles. Take care.